Alright guys, so this is just basically another update, but I finally got my packages of East Coast mesh in, and I strung everything, so I just wanted to show you guys that and show you what I've been getting. Alright, first things first, I have my Flight 17 that I strung with a relatively high pocket. I think it looks nice anyways. It's kind of like a high mid. Um, the pocket is a little bit elongated for my likings. It doesn't exactly sit necessarily right under the shooters, which does decrease from the hold. But this was a really awkward stick string. It looks better from this angle. Probably looks a little bit better. I don't know why it looks so different from this angle, but um, it's hard to explain. This is a 13 millimeter, as you'll be seeing the 15 millimeter in a little bit, and I'll compare the two basically. But I strung with my normal pattern. It was the sidewall pattern is on the second hole is where it starts, and it's interlock, but you skip one hole in between. Interlock, interlock, 3, 2, 1, tie off. Normal pattern, and this thing is really light. And I didn't really put too much slack on the bottom string. I just wanted to make sure I was pulling up the pocket as much as I could on this, and yeah, it's on a Wonder Boy that I won. Um, So here's the first of two, the twins. This is my Maverick Rise, strung with a very similar pattern to my Stallion, actually. You see, the channel's a little bit wide, but that's because it's a wide head. But normal setup again, my two shooters again, triangle top string, mid-high pocket. A little bit more slack in the bottom string. And I did the pattern here, and I skipped basically every other hole except for the one on this side right before my triple up, and I put it really close like how it is on my Stallion. Trying to show you that. You see, on my Stallion, you can see that really these two close interlocks right there, and then they're basically just singles the rest of the way down. And the Stallions, I like to string a little bit more slack in the shooting string so that the pocket's able to rise a little bit more. But I might tighten this one down, even though this one's pretty friggin' solid pocket. Um, but yeah, um, I have two of these actually. Both of them strung with a 13 millimeter. What am I saying? Milliliter. Um, same stringing, hot mid high pocket again, more so high, but once again the close interlock, and these two are exact twins except for the one shooting string basically, and they're identical, both on DB803s. One just taped because I've been using it for club. So this is another head I'm going to be using over the summer. And then finally, probably the thing I'm happiest about right now is this stick right here. And this is an Evolite on the brand new Gate Ice. The one for this year. And this stick is extremely light, and this is probably my favorite stick I have right now. The pocket's real nice and high. Shooting strings probably need to be a little bit tighter than they are right now. But other than that, this stick is pretty damn legit. It's extremely light, and this is strung with the 15 millimeter East Coast. Nice channel, nice and tight. But basically, I was just gonna do a comparison here of the two after I show you these. But in my school's attic, found these two things. I found a Proton U in the attic, that I strung, and I found this. It's a brine offset head. So it's called, I think it's the Blaze, and it's on F10 from I don't even know how long ago. See, F10 power grip, and I was thinking about putting the shaft on the traditional, but surprisingly, really good for face-offs. Proton U, gonna probably dye this neon green, and yeah, just take the graphics off this thing and throw it on something. Switch it out with the zirconium, or maybe put it on the pole and then put my revolver on the zirconium. But yeah. Now I'm gonna show you 15 mil versus 13. Now this one right here, this is the 15 mil, and this is the 13. Now you can see the difference. 15 millimeter is what basically standard mark mesh is, and 13 millimeter is what we would probably find on what I want to say. Not exactly your your Gimalax hard, but it's more so similar to Stringer Shack. That's what I was thinking of. But it's pretty much standard. With the 13 millimeter, I feel with the tighter diamonds, it does provide a good amount of hold. But the 15 millimeter, I feel, is a little bit softer. It breaks in a little bit easier, and honestly, it was a little bit easier to string, just because the diamonds are bigger. And really, like when you feel the difference between these two sticks, this one just feels so effortless, and then this one, it feels like you know when the ball's coming out. Both are two different, ways on playing, and some people would prefer different things, but I'm going to show you now the difference. Well, this might also be because of the, how tight the shoes are, but you see the ball comes out. It's really smooth, I have to say. But now I'm going to do the rise, and it comes out a little bit later. And it delays because it actually doesn't even get caught necessarily on the shooter when it's coming out, but if there's this little notch and the ball kind of just sits there in between the part before it comes out, and it kind of delays. Now, what this does is it adds more whip with the smaller diamonds, and it's not exactly a soft whip, it's a hard whip. Now, when I mean hard and soft, I mean, you know, how much whip we're talking here, and how much you actually feel it. So that adds, I think, more whip. And this one, um, it's a different kind of whip. But either way, I actually prefer the 15 millimeter over that. Um, but it's nice, especially for someone who's a two-handed cradler. I mean, you can throw some pretty sick fakes with it. Like I can go completely one-handed and just defy everything. But I'll show you. But just good hold. And also, once again, good hold here. But yeah, I do think there is a little bit more hold when it comes to 13 millimeter. So if you like something, a little bit harder, a little bit more hold, I'd go with the 13. If you're looking for a good release, and good pocket structure, this is very, very similar to Mark Mesh. Um, just the actual the mesh itself, not necessarily the coating, but I feel once some of the wax wears off of it, I feel like it's gonna feel like Mark Mesh. And Mark Mesh has a very distinct feel to it. Um, but I would still prefer this. I had 15 millimeter Mark Mesh, and it's just not like this at all. And literally, the shooting strings aren't even tight; they're just there for accuracy purposes. But either way, it's nice because you can see as I start to move the ball forward, it comes and the shooters are loose enough where I hit that and I hit my double weave nylon and the pocket comes forward. and you can see how it kind of like flattens out like that, and it just goes completely straight out. And the ball sit wherever I want. The ball can sit down here, and that's the great thing about East Coast mesh. And this kind of a pocket, your pocket, it doesn't matter because the pocket will shift depending on where you're holding the ball. But I prefer to hold it with two hands, real like on my hip, bringing it up to my one shoulder as a lefty, and then as a righty, I like to be vertical, holding it this way and bringing my hands out when I'm passing. So you can see the ball does move around a little bit more as opposed to the 13. Moves a little bit easier, and it comes out really quick as to where there's somewhat of a delay, which I would say, this would be good for a crease attackman, but I feel like that would be better for a midfielder for their purposes anyways. So yeah, 13 millimeter for attackman, 15 mil probably better for middies, but it all really depends on your feel. Some people would even say go with something like a semi-hard, which is what this is strung with. And I really like this stick. Everybody knows that. This is a little bit different in a sense where it has a little bit of ball rattle, but vertical hold. It's not about vertical hold. It's all about two-handed hold. Because, with the three straight across, it's all about your string preferences, really. And you'll get different results out of everything. So it's really up to who's stringing it. If you're stringing it, I would say, from personal taste as an attackman, more hold, 13 millimeter, and better ball retention. From an accuracy and a throwing standpoint, I would say 15 millimeter, because shooting with it is just unreal. And it's really hard to explain. It's a very smooth, crisp release where you don't exactly feel, it's like just effortless. Kind of like how my blade was strung. But that was strung with 13 millimeter because of the hole placement. Evo is very spread out, so I needed bigger diamonds to fill that space, so that's why I went with the 15 on it. But yeah, as you can see, here's another case of the 13. Probably gonna start ordering more 15 millimeter, but this same case, a little bit more hold. Sits a little bit better on the shooters than the 15, I think, just because of where it is, but it's kind of like ridiculous hold. But either way, I like how all of them are strong, so I would play with any of these that have East Coast mesh on them. But you guys know how I feel. East Coast mesh is the best. But one more thing before I go. I have 103 club lax points, and I was either thinking of getting a Lakota, or I was thinking of getting a CEO. Just because, and I was probably gonna go pick up like a Nike shaft. Try and trade for one maybe. Trade, I don't know, something. Probably I'll probably end up trying to trade that F10 shaft if anyone wants like any of my vintage stuff. I also have an E3 that I strung up that I think I showed you guys. But make some suggestions on heads that I should get. Maybe I should just wait till the new STX head comes out because, but I only have a little bit of time because every club lax point counts as $1. So I have $103 there, which is pretty good. But yeah, I'm thinking CEO or Volt. I mean, or not Volt, or Volt Lakota. Yeah, that's what I meant. But maybe I should just get another Evolite. I don't know. But wage your opinions and just write in the comment section, subscribe, rate. You know what to do. That's all I really have to say. So thanks.